Okay, so the NRL Las Vegas doubleheader is now completed. I'm going to review both games in one go. I'm going to briefly cover both games. There is an ugly incident that we do need to discuss. Only one player has been put on report out of the first two games. We had 11 tries in the first game. Scoring was down in the second game, potentially because it was the later kickoff, and both sides had to wait until the first game was completed. And the temperatures changed inside the arena and also outside. The weather has contributed to some seats not being taken up or delays of fans getting in. The wind really picked up. There's been a lot of bad weather on the west coast and into the Sierra Nevada mountain range, which is just outside of Vegas, which sits in a sort of wide flat valley surrounded by mountains. So if you know your geography, Las Vegas is right at the bottom of Nevada, not too far from the Grand Canyon, and it does sit in like a sort of like a desert plain kind of bowl. It's surrounded by mountains. The wind has picked up coming off the mountains. There's been a lot of rain, snow, and high winds slightly further to the west. The temperatures have been cooler the last couple of days. The wind has picked up. Maybe that's impacted preparation when the players are training outside. The Sea Eagles Rabbitohs game was an arm wrestle until the second half when the Sea Eagles blitzed the Bunnies. The Sea Eagles have won 36 points to 24. One injury concern that is, I think, a bit serious is Jason Saab has pulled his hamstring in the second half, didn't complete the game, and Ruben Garrick has a slight ankle concern. I think both ankles were heavily strapped by the end for Ruben Garrick. He took a few hits, but his goal kicking was fantastic, and Luke Brooks had a brilliant debut, scoring on debut as well, and had a fantastic game. Took some of the pressure off Cherry Evans and vice versa. They were allowed to play their natural games because you had two halfbacks who were really, in tune with each other. And for their first run out together, not bad going. They've obviously worked very, very hard in the off-season and the pre-season. I am surprised that the Sea Eagles came out on top, considering how they performed the last couple of seasons. But the Trebojevic brothers, all three of them had a fantastic game. Some of the Bunnies had good games, some of them had indifferent games. Latrell Mitchell had a mixed game. He was brilliant at periods in the first half, and then as the game wore on, fatigue's taken a toll. His goal kicking wasn't great. He's missed some crucial kicks at goal, and an 11 try thriller. The game could be a lot closer. The Seagulls did have some tries disallowed, but the brutality was within the rules of the game. Only a couple of penalties given away, a few six agains, but it was a fair contest, played in the right way with the right level of brutality. The Roosters Broncos, however, there is an ugly incident that we do need to discuss involving Spencer Leniu and Ezra Mam. And that started to boil over in the second half. That was a much feistier game, lower scoring, 20 points to 10, so half as many points as the first game pretty much, but there was an ugly incident, and we do need to discuss that when we get to it. The try assist from Joey Manu, though, the back of the hand flick pass, is ridiculous, and that is going to be a highlight reel for decades to come. I think that's one of the most ridiculous try assists I've ever seen, and Joey Manu for me was the best player in the second game. He really he did some crazy stuff out in his centre channel, but all the outside backs for the Roosters were brilliant. Tedesco had one of his best games in a couple of seasons. Yes, there's been a Billy Smith miss down, slight hamstring concern. How long that keeps him out, we will wait and see. No Maria Hargreaves, but that didn't impact the physicality. Victor the Inflictor Radley had a very good game, kept his tackles under control, was brilliant with the physicality. But the Spencer Leniu racial slur against Ezra Mam, potentially. Now, things were getting heated in what was a very tight second half at that point, and something has happened off the ball. There was a flare-up, and then a bit later on, something else has happened with another flare-up. Players stopped. There's an incident in back play. So Reece Walsh has made a tackle, or he's gone for the ball. He's made a tackle. That's fine. It's a changeover of possession. But while we're waiting for the ball play is stopped. There's a flare up in back play. I think potentially to do with Jordan Ricky and Spencer Leniu, a tackle made earlier on in the phase of play. Bit of back and forth between the two, bit of niggle on the ground, maybe a bit of a face wash, and then after Reece Walsh has turned play over by not claiming the he makes a tackle, I believe, on Tedesco. In back play, it's carried on, it's flared up, and then the referees come on the field, separate the players, are all gathering around the officials. Ezra Mam has made a complaint about a racist slur from Spencer Leniu. Now, Spencer Leniu is from a South Sea Islander Pacific heritage. Ezra Mam is from a Torres Strait Islander and Aboriginal heritage. So something's been said, and I think that sours what has been a brilliant 2 games in front of a brilliant crowd with a brilliant atmosphere, and I think I had to cover this because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing that justice. I think that overshadows what has been a brilliant game. Spencer Leniu is the only player to go on report for foul play. We'll wait and see what comes of this. Adam G, the referee, did not pick it up. He did not hear it, what was said. And that's all live mic'd up for the American Stadium, which is, so that the fans know what's going on. That led to a bit of a spicy 5-10 minutes of play where some big hits were going in. There was a lot of needle and niggle in the game. As Spencer Leniu was leaving the field towards the end of the play with an interchange, there was some more verbals continuing between him and the Broncos players on the field and the Broncos bench. So we'll wait and see what potentially comes of that. But the 2 games were absolutely fantastic. I do suggest to any Americans out there and just any sports fan, check out the Joey Manu back of the hand blind offload where he's not even looking at his winger and he flings it out the back. It's a ridiculous pass. And if he does go to rugby union, that's rugby league's loss, because I think the Roosters are going to try very hard to keep him. But salary cap concerns, we'll see if Joey Manu's still a rugby league player next season, because that is a highlight reel play that will be replayed hundreds if not thousands of times on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on social media, on Facebook. That will get WhatsApped, that will get sent around the world. Sea Eagles, statement win from them, with potentially not their strongest side on the field. The Bunnies missing a few players, their outside backs were decimated with injuries and suspensions. Roosters, that was a statement win. They haven't had a great record in the last 11-12 seasons in first round matchups. They've lost 8 out of the last 11 first rounders, but they have a decent record against the Broncos, and Tedesco and Manu have really carried the show with the outside backs. Both Sam Walker and Luke Keary as smaller half-backs put in some big shots for small men. Broncos, a bit of a grand final hangover, very similar to the other beaten grand finalists against Penrith in recent seasons, losing their opening game of the season. So there we go. That's my thoughts on the NRL Vegas doubleheader. I feel it's been a success. We'll have to see what the American viewership is for the American TV audience, but I would expect, considering that the NCAA basketball overran on Fox Sports 1 for the first game, and so it started on Fox Sports 2 and then was transferred over to Fox Sports 1, we may get a big casual audience from Fox Sports 1 that was watching the NCAA basketball that did overrun. So we may have a bigger than anticipated TV audience in the US. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on the games below. Both fantastic games, both different games in the amount of scoring. But the pitch dimensions only really impacted the second game with a couple of kicks going dead on the full. Otherwise, both sides really worked the narrow width and the shorter length really effectively. So we may see that some of the defensive systems they've had to employ for these 2 games employed in the regular season in the NRL going forward. But from me for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will have some more content for you very, very soon.